Welcome to Storytime, where real people share unreal encounters. Every week, we bring you true horror stories that unfold in everyday places: a quiet lake, a summer camp, a roadside motel, the kinds of places you've probably been before, or will be soon. So grab a blanket, dim the lights, because what you're about to hear isn't fiction. These are real stories, and they might just keep you up tonight. Let's dive into today's theme: real horror stories from summer vacation. Story 1. The Cabin on Mirror Lake, British Columbia, Canada, July 2017. My name is Ellie, and I'm telling this because I still can't sleep through a sunset without checking the window. This happened during the summer before my senior year, when life was supposed to be about yearbooks, driving lessons, and college applications. Not this. Every summer, my family rented a remote cabin in British Columbia. It sat on the edge of a serene little body of water called Mirror Lake. No internet, no cable. Just a rustic wooden cabin, some hiking trails, and the clearest lake you've ever seen. Perfectly still, like a sheet of polished glass. We'd been going there for years, but that summer felt different. It started small. On our second evening there, my little brother Jamie and I were skipping stones off the dock. The sun was going down, casting long shadows across the lake. I tossed a pebble and turned to Jamie, but he was staring at the water, unmoving. "What?" I asked. He pointed at the reflection in the lake. "There's someone over there." I followed his finger. At first, I didn't see it. But then there it was, in the reflection only, a figure. Tall, thin, dressed in old-fashioned clothes. A long coat, a hat. Maybe a fisherman's hat? But when I looked up toward the opposite bank where the figure should have been standing, it was empty. No one. I blinked and the reflection was gone. Jamie said maybe it was a tree or a rock. We laughed it off. It was creepy, but we were used to ghost stories. Campfire tales, you don't really believe them, until they start following you. The next evening it happened again, right before sunset. Same figure, same spot. This time it moved, just a little, like it was swaying. And this time, it was closer to our side of the lake. I didn't say anything to my parents yet, but Jamie and I were both spooked. We decided to draw it. Our sketches were nearly identical. Tall, soaking wet, long dark coat, and no visible face, just a blank patch of skin where facial features should have been. The third night is when I started to believe. We were roasting marshmallows by the fire pit when I felt it. A drop of cold water hit my shoulder. I looked up, clear skies. No trees above, but my shoulder, it was wet. Like someone had squeezed a sponge over me. I got chills instantly, something was off. Even the dog, Toby, who usually chased bugs for hours, was hiding behind a chair. I told my parents about the figure. They chuckled, called it sunset paranoia. My mom blamed reflections. My dad told me to get some sleep. That night, I woke up at exactly 3:12 a.m. I don't know why. No noise, no dream, just awake. I looked toward the window, and there he was, standing at the edge of the dock. Tall, drenched, staring directly at the cabin. I froze. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. I blinked, still there. Then he turned and walked into the lake, fully clothed. Just walked in like it was dry land, and then he was gone. I sat up the rest of the night, clutching a flashlight. Then said, "A long time ago in the 50s, a fisherman went missing here. Everyone assumed he drowned. They searched for days but never found a body. He used to fish every evening at sunset, wore a long coat and a hat." I asked him if there had been other sightings. He hesitated. "Sometimes guests say they see someone out on the lake, but when they look again, it's just the water." That was the last time we ever visited Mirror Lake. But I never told anyone this part, not even my parents. On our drive home, hours later, I looked out the back window, and just for a moment, through the trees and a flash of sunlight on water, I saw him again, standing, watching. Story 2, The Girl in Bunk 36, Ohio Summer Camp, August 2013. This story belongs to my cousin Tara, and even 10 years later, she refuses to go camping, not even in a backyard tent. She was 12 years old when it happened. It was her first time going to Pine Brook Summer Camp in Ohio. The place had been around since the 1960s, an old-fashioned camp with log cabins, mess halls, tetherball courts, and stories around the campfire. Parents loved it. Kids either loved it or came back changed. Tara was in cabin 2, bunking with 5 other girls. Her best friend Megan was with her, which made it all less scary. Tara got bunk number 4. Megan got bunk number 6, right under a little round window that overlooked the woods. The two bunks faced each other. It started the second night. Tara was trying to fall asleep, and the cabin was full of the usual summer sounds: creaking wood, snoring counselors, the hum of bugs outside. But then she heard something else, whispers. At first, she thought someone was talking in their sleep. But it was a conversation, not mumbling. Two voices. One was clearly Megan's. The other was softer, quieter. Not quite right. Tara sat up. "Megan?" she whispered. The talking stopped instantly. Megan slowly turned her head. "Yeah? Who are you talking to?" Megan looked confused. "No one." "I was just telling the girl in the bunk to stop kicking." Tara frowned. "What girl?" Megan blinked, then looked at the empty space beside her. She was just here. The next day, Tara told the camp counselor, Miss Gwen, who smiled and said it was probably a dream. "Lots of kids imagine things their first week," she said. "New environment, shared beds, it's totally normal." Tara wanted to believe her. Until the next night, everyone was asleep. The moonlight spilled in through the cabin window. Tara turned over and glanced across at Megan's bunk. There was someone sitting at the edge of it. A girl, long black hair, soaking wet clothes. Her back was turned, but Tara could see the water dripping down her arms. Her hands were gripping the wooden frame of the bed. Then the girl turned her head. Her eyes were white, no pupils. No iris, just white. And her mouth didn't open. It stretched like it was tearing, forming a horrible, slanted smile. And then she whispered, "This is my bunk!" Tara screamed so loud she woke up the entire cabin. Counselors rushed in, turned on the lights. But the girl was gone. Everyone was confused. Megan said she didn't see anything, but admitted she'd been cold all night, like the blankets had been pulled off her over and over again. Tara begged to switch bunks. They moved her to another cabin. But the story didn't end there. Megan stayed in cabin 2. The next 2 nights, she told Tara she heard giggling, then scratching, like someone dragging fingernails down the wooden wall behind her bed. One night, she even saw her blanket levitate off her legs and drop to the floor. She finally broke and told the camp nurse, who quietly brought her into the office. That's when the truth came out. In the early 1980s, a girl named Marla Jennings, age 11, drowned in the lake behind Pinebrook. It had been raining for days. The kids weren't allowed to swim, but Marla snuck out after lights out to go wading. They found her floating the next morning, face down, just 10 feet from the dock. She was staying in cabin 2. In bunk Serber 6. After her death, they shut the camp down for a full summer. Then reopened, quietly. They never removed the bunk, just renumbered it. Over the years, other kids had reported strange things: cold spots, voices, wet footprints. But it was always brushed off as camp imagination until Tara's year. That summer, 4 different campers in cabin 2 asked to switch bunks. One claimed to wake up with a bruise shaped like a handprint on her ankle. Another said her pillow smelled like lake water. 2 weeks after Tara left, a storm rolled in. Cabin 2 flooded badly, but only bunk Serber 6 got soaked. The others were completely dry. The camp tried to write it off again, but the following summer they tore the cabin down. Said it was due to termite damage. But here's where it gets worse. That fall, when Tara was back home, she was organizing her school supplies when she found something in her bag. A piece of wood, smooth, rounded, old, with a number burned into it. 6. She never brought it back, never took it there. She buried it in her backyard. To this day, she won't dig in that corner. She says sometimes when it rains, she still hears the whisper through her bedroom window. That's my bunk. Story 3, The Carnival Never Leaves. Setting, small town in Ohio, August 2018. Every summer, without fail, the Red Veil Traveling Carnival would roll into our sleepy Ohio town. They never advertised, no posters, no online tickets, just a whisper among the kids, and then, like magic, they'd appear overnight in the empty fairgrounds by the river. I was 15 the year it all changed. The year I learned that Red Veil was not just a carnival, that behind the flashing lights and cotton candy smiles, something ancient was watching, waiting, and once you've stepped into its world, it follows you. It started like every other summer. I was staying with my cousin Maddie for the last 2 weeks before school. We were bored out of our minds, scrolling through dead Wi-Fi, surviving on gas station snacks, and praying for anything exciting to happen. And then it did. On a Monday morning, Maddie came bursting into the living room. "It's here!" I knew exactly what she meant. Red veiled the carnival. We ran all the way to the fairgrounds. And just like every year, it had appeared, overnight, like it had been teleported in from another dimension. Tilt-a-whirls spun in slow, lazy circles. A carousel played a broken, old-timey tune. A clown stood at the gate, silently waving people in. There was no fee. There never was. The carnival only opened after sunset. That night we snuck out. The fairgrounds pulsed with energy. Lights blinked in impossible patterns. The air smelled of popcorn and ozone. People moved around us, but no one spoke. Just laughter, low, echoing, distant. Like it was happening underwater. Maddie grabbed my hand. Let's find the fun house. She remembered it from the year before. Said it was the best, with twisting mirrors and hidden rooms. But this year the layout was different. None of the attractions were where they'd been before. Still, we found it, the Hall of Smiles. A giant mouth, stretched into a cartoon grin, formed the entrance. Its teeth were yellow bulbs, and inside was nothing but darkness. Looks new, I said. Maddie shrugged. They change it every year. We stepped inside. The door slammed shut behind us. At first, it was the usual stuff. Warped mirrors, jump scares, loud laughter. No more mirrors, just one long corridor, lit by a flickering red light. The walls began to pulse, breathing almost, and we could hear voices whispering just out of reach. Then the floor moved. It wasn't fast. It just shifted like we were on a giant tongue. I grabbed Maddie's arm. This isn't funny anymore. She didn't respond. I turned. Her eyes were wide. Her mouth hung open, and she whispered, "It's behind you." I spun around. A figure, tall, thin, dressed like a ringmaster in faded red and black, stood at the end of the hall. His face was a perfect blank. No eyes, no mouth. No features, just smooth, waxy skin and a red top hat. He raised one hand and crooked a finger. "Come closer," we ran. The hallway stretched, twisted. The exit was gone. The air got thick, like breathing through syrup. But we kept running until, suddenly, we burst out the back of the funhouse and landed in the dirt behind a food stand. We didn't stop running until we were blocks away. The next morning, the carnival was gone. No trucks, no lights. Not even tire marks. It was like it had never been there at all. We tried telling Maddie's mom. She rolled her eyes. "You girls just had a nightmare," but we knew better. Because that night I found a red ticket on my pillow. It wasn't there before. And in tiny letters, barely visible, were the words, "Admit 1, return visit required." For weeks, nothing happened. Then Maddie stopped answering my texts. At first, I thought she was mad at me. Then I called her house. Her mom picked up, like sobbing. Maddie was missing. Vanished from her room one night. No signs of forced entry. Her bed still made. But her window was wide open. And on the sill sat a small red balloon. I couldn't sleep after that. Every night I'd wake up around 3 a.m., heart pounding, sure I'd heard carnival music drifting through my window. Once I looked outside. Down the street in the fog, I swear I saw a carousel slowly spinning. No horses, just shapes. It's been 7 years. I don't go near fairs, don't trust laughter. Don't touch red balloons. And I still get tickets, once every summer. They appear in drawers in my mailbox inside my shoes. Always the same message, "Admit 1, return visit required." And every time I burn them. But last week I got a different one. The envelope was black, inside was a photo. It was Maddie, smiling wide, standing next to the blank-faced ringmaster. Behind her in the background I saw the Hall of Smiles. And underneath the photo, scribbled in ink, "We're saving you a spot." Thanks for joining me on this spine-tingling journey tonight. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because there are plenty more dark tales waiting to be told. Remember, sometimes the scariest things aren't what we see, but what's lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to follow us home. Until next time, stay curious, stay cautious, and keep your lights on. Good night.